What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here. So I didn't expect to do another Chelsea video before I got back home. And again, I probably will save my full season analysis until I get back to my actual house, so I have a better setup. But yeah, I mean, obviously, based on the title, you know what this video is going to be about. And I just, literally, it just happened. Like, I happened to pull up Twitter and I saw, club statement. And I'm just thinking, great, here we go. And I think what's really dumb about it, for me at least, is when Boehly and the new owners came in, it felt like they were trying to move in a different direction from where things were before. Because as much as I liked Abramovich as an owner and all the stuff the success that he brought the club, the one complaint that I did agree with is he was very ruthless when it came to managers. It was very much if you're not performing well, even if it's only halfway through the season, even if there's still time to turn things around, you're gone. It didn't matter how great of a season you had before or what difficulties might be involved with like injuries and stuff. It was very ruthless. So I didn't mind having owners come in that went, you know what, we're going to try to do things differently. However, last season, the whole Potter situation, it finally got bad enough. Like, honestly, Potter would have been gone well before he actually was. But they gave him a lot of time to turn things around, and it just kept getting worse. So finally, they made that decision, and it was a justified one in my opinion, because even though they didn't really bring in somebody to replace him that could turn things around, Lampard, I still felt like, we need to change. So then we get to Pochettino, and again, I've had my issues with him. Obviously, about halfway through the season, I was ready for him to be moved on to, because it just felt like things were not getting better. Things were still the same from last year. Yes, we had our injury problems. Yes, we have the problem of we have a whole new team. And granted, I still think that's a big issue that we need to resolve. I don't think the board's going to do anything about it, because clearly they've shown that their transfer plan and what they want to do is more important than anything that we want as fans. But looking at this season, it was bad. It was frustrating, but we had our bright sparks. You had those moments where you could get a sense of, maybe let's see, maybe let's wait and see what we can do. I could understand where people were coming from, where I couldn't understand where people were asking to give Potter more time. There was no really defense for that. But even though I was wanting Poch out about halfway through the season, I understood why there were some people saying, wait, give him time. I just personally didn't see any sort of change, any sort of progression with him. Every game was kind of the same. But then that changed after the Tottenham and West Ham matches. It felt like, not only did our performances improve, not only did he make some adjustments and tactical decisions that I thought changed matches. Hell, even his subs throughout most of the season weren't really changing matches. And then all of a sudden against Forest, they did. 2 subs went and won us the match that game. So I'm looking at it going, we're seeing improvement. We're seeing a manager that's actually doing something that is making the team better. And on top of that, now we're getting our first team back, and we're seeing improvement because of that. We're seeing overall just better performances. We win twice in a row on the road. We win 5 in a row. Like, that is unthinkable considering where we were earlier this season. So I'm looking at this, I'm thinking, you know what? I'm excited. I'm okay with Poch staying. I'm okay with seeing what next season's going to bring. Maybe get a couple of players in that he wants in, get rid of a couple of these guys that just are not good enough, and we'll see what next season brings. But of course, all the talk was, is he going to stay? Is he happy here? All this stuff. And I'm thinking, if it's the board that's making him unhappy, they just need to step out of the way. Whether it's the transfers that he's unhappy with, whether it's how he's being treated, whatever the situation is, the board needs to give him whatever he needs to keep him for another year. And then they didn't. And I know it says mutual agreement, but in my opinion, more than likely, it's the stubborn-ass board. It's the stubborn-ass owners that do not want to change their way of thinking, that do not want to change how the club's being run right now. Pochettino's not happy with that, and so he's like, all right, yeah, I'm good. I don't need to be here anymore, because there's no progression. And it just really shows the lack of ambition that we finally saw some progress. In the 2 years that this ownership has owned this club, Boehly and Clearlake, ever since they took over. In 2 years, we've seen no progression until the very end of this season. And it felt like Pochettino was behind that. It felt like he was the one making the decisions that we're finally seeing some of these players get to be better. Caicedo, he finally got the best out of him by the end of this season. Never thought that was going to happen. We got the whole team playing well. Palmer, I mean, who knows if another coach had come in, if Palmer would be the same as he is without Pochettino. Who knows whether another manager could have gotten that out of him, given him that time. But then after all of this, instead of just stepping aside, because again, I can't imagine why Pochettino would want to leave. Outside of, I know obviously some of the reports were he didn't feel welcome here because of some fans. And if that's also the case, then that's just dumb. Because obviously fans are not going to be happy when results are not going well. You have to understand that. So it's hard for me to feel sympathetic if that's the main reason. If that is one of the reasons, then okay. But I personally think the main reason has got to be the board. It's got to be their unwillingness to talk to him, to make the decisions that he wants them to make. Because it sounds like they've made it very clear that they're the ones making the transfers. They have their transfer policy that they're going to do, and screw the manager. The manager just has to work with whatever they give him. Yeah, that's not going to work. It hasn't worked for 2 seasons. And if we're doing it again, we're going to have to go get another manager, and they're just going to, hey, here, take this hodgepodge of players, make it work. It's not going to work. No manager can do that. I don't even think Pep would be able to do that. I don't even think Klopp would be able to do that. But here we are again. And it's so frustrating too. Because again, it felt like things were going to be different when it came to the manager situation. As much as I complained about Poch, by the end of this season, I was like, you know what? I'm kind of glad that we have owners that are not willing to just pull the trigger so quickly and get managers out of the job. Because if so, they probably would have pulled the trigger on Poch. He probably would have been sacked after one of those really bad results that was really embarrassing. But they didn't. They gave him time. You know what? I'm glad they gave him some time. And then he's gone. 4 or 5 games later, after I'm excited to see what he's going to do next, board just decides, you know what? We don't need him. Yes, because we can build consistency by changing our manager again. By going and probably just getting a bunch of new players, a bunch of young, talented players again. Probably going to get rid of Gallagher. Probably going to get rid of Colwell. Probably going to get rid of James and Chilwell. Get rid of all of these guys that have grown up in this club, have passion for this club. Get rid of all of them because that makes us profit. And then we're going to go get some young, talented players that maybe in 5 or 6 years will be really good after they've moved on to another club because they're not going to want to play here anymore. I don't know. Again, I didn't think I was going to be doing another Chelsea video. I've got other videos I need to record and edit and all of that. But, I had to say something about this. This is ridiculous that we are in this situation again. We're in this situation where I was not a huge fan of Tuchel, but there were a lot of fans that were pissed whenever the board made that decision. And, well, basically the same thing. Like, yes, Tuchel was not, or Poch had not won a trophy like Tuchel had won the Champions League, but we were coming off of a season where we didn't win anything, and we were not really looking that good. We barely made top 4. If not for Tottenham and Leicester dropping off a cliff, we wouldn't have made top 4. We had 2 finals that we really didn't play very well by the end of it. They were there to be won, and I didn't think Tuchel handled it very well. The second leg against Real Madrid, I thought he didn't handle that very well. So we were coming off a season where some of Tuchel's flaws had been exposed. So when the board got rid of him, I understood the frustration from the fans because of the Champions League. I totally get that. But I also understood he's probably not the guy to take us forward. And he also burns a lot of bridges very easily. But then with this is just yes, we didn't win anything, but he kept us competitive. He somehow got us into Europe after this whole season. That's incredible. That is unthinkable. If you had told me in December that Pochettino was going to get us into Europe, I would have laughed in your face. I would have said, you're an idiot. There's no way. Here we are. And yet, the board decides we don't need him anymore. That's just ignorance. That is ignorance and stubbornness on a whole nother level. And there's no excuses. There are no more excuses at this point. You guys have been in charge of this club. You have seen how this club is doing currently based on previous success. You do the comparison, you guys are not successful owners. This is the first time that we've seen a bit of success since you guys came in and you got rid of the guy that handed you some of that success. Like, it is mad to me to think that right after we qualify for Europe, like the fact that they even had these discussions right now, 2 days after we qualified for Europe, that tells me you guys were just itching to be like, hey, so we hear you've been talking in the press. We hear you've been saying some stuff, about how you want us to run things. Well, guess what? We don't like that, and we're not going to do it your way. And he's just like, all right, well, see ya. I don't need to be here. I delivered something that nobody thought you guys were going to do this season, and I delivered that. So I'm pretty sure my interest just bumped up a little bit. I'm pretty sure there's some clubs that are looking at me now and thinking, we could use him. So he's going to go on and probably do well at, I don't know. But I could see him like going back to Tottenham, since they don't seem to really like Ange very much right now. I could just see him returning there and then winning them their first trophy in over 2 decades or something like that. I don't know. But wouldn't be surprised, honestly. Because again, even though he didn't have a super successful season, he still, by the standards that we set last season, by how little cohesion, but how little cohesion this team had because of a whole new set of players. You have all of these things working against you, all the injuries he had. He did still get us into Europe despite all of this. And you're telling me we're done. So yeah, I mean, I've been Boehly out basically since last season. I'm still there. And I know it's not only him. I think most of the backroom staff, most of the board just needs to leave our club, sell it to somebody who actually cares, who actually wants success and doesn't just want to make money doing this. Because that's really what it feels like. It feels like they're just interested in making money. How are we going to make profit? Well, we can sell some of these players that are essential to the team. Some of these players that love this club, we can sell them. We don't really need them anymore. Yeah, that's the mindset that I want from our owners. So I'm not obviously done supporting Chelsea, but I will say that as long as these owners are in charge, I'm not excited. I'm not excited for any season, because every season it's going to feel like what's going to screw up this season. Is it going to be the manager again? Are we going to go get some young hot manager who everybody's raving about that doesn't actually have any quality? Are we going to go get a De Zerbi, or I don't know, go get like, who's another one? Areola is another one that's kind of hot right now. O'Neal, like, are we going to go get one of those mid-table managers again because, oh, they're young and they're doing pretty well? Then we're not going to be successful. You need to bring somebody in who has quality, who has knowledge, who has experience working with top-level players. None of those guys have it. Potter didn't have it. Pochettino did. And we saw the quality showed through in the end. For most of the season, it was a little iffy. Wasn't great. By the end of the season, we saw he's a quality manager. And now we've gotten rid of him. So yeah, Boehly, Clearlake both need to be just removed. I don't know how that would work. I don't know if the fans just need to boycott the club. I don't know if they need to run up to the office and riot and protest outside of their buildings or whatever. But this club has got to sell to somebody who loves the club, who wants to see it succeed. Because we don't have owners that do right now. We don't have owners that are here for success, are here to make the club successful. And that's just the face of it. So with all that being said, though, let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. What were your thoughts on Pochettino's termination of contract? Let me know. We can talk about and discuss all that good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe for future Chelsea reviews. I'll see you guys at the analysis, whatever that's going to happen. Until then, I hope you guys have a great day. Peace out.